Okay, and we are live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Hour. Just remind you, for those of you that haven't been here before, I will cover a number of subjects that have come up during the week in the first half an hour, 40 minutes, and then open the room up to questions. To have a live question and answer session. Can be related to what I've talked about, or can be completely unrelated, but obviously keep it possibly into crypto. So if you have any questions, you can start also putting them either in the chat box, or if you're following on YouTube, put it on the chat box there. Okay, so once I've finished talking about the news items, I can then pick up the questions and we can follow on from there. Okay, let me start sharing the screen. And first of all, I mean, there is something that is dominating the news this week, and you probably would have heard something about this. Let me just see. Okay, so can you see my screen now? So this is what has been dominating the news all week. I mean, this is just a little bit of fun, but is Kwasi Kwarteng is the UK Chancellor of the Exchequer that has come out with what he calls a mini budget, which is, you know, the biggest change in economic policy in our lifetime. But the markets haven't taken very kindly to it, and as you can see from these things, he loves a good crush, because following the mini budget last Friday, you know, on Monday there was absolutely panic and chaos in the markets. So the sterling depreciated very quickly, almost getting to parity against the dollar, and also the euro. Then he has since recovered because the Bank of England has intervened. Now let's have a look at what this means, though. Let me just start. Okay, so first of all, as you can see from the week, there wasn't anything really major this week. It's fairly quiet week. So this is the economic calendar that I show you, every day. The only thing really worth of note is the inflation, an inflation index, the PCE price index, that will be released today, which is if you click here, I'll tell you what it is about. So this only measures goods and services targeted towards and consumed by individuals. Okay, so he excludes food and energy from this calculation. Okay, so it gives a kind of like more stable indication of inflation, and it is expected to come in at 0.5%. This is month on month. Okay, so we still have very elevated levels. But I say not much going on this week in terms of economic announcements. But let's see what was the mini budget. And just very quickly, okay, it was based, obviously in the backdrop is a cost of living crisis. So we're trying to make it easier for everybody. So capping the cost of energy for all UK's households to not so much to a cost, to an overall cost, but a cost per unit of energy. But also introduced some very big policies. So a reduction on the income tax rate from 20 to 19%, and also the abolition of the 45% higher rate of income tax in the UK. So this is the rate that's paid by people that earn over £150,000 a year. Okay. So, and also other things like the abolition of the national insurance, the increase that was decided in April by the previous Conservative government. So for those of you that are not in the UK, here we are talking about, a Conservative government that is following the previous Conservative government by the, Boris Johnson, who is, well known as the local buffoon, was elected not because he knows much about politics, but because he looks good against the orange guy that was in the US. So these measures were were really hammered by everybody, both on the on the local in the UK, because it's seen as basically favoring the richest part of the population, in the hope that with these measures, then they would spur a economic growth, and then making it easier for everybody else. Now, how this improvement, this trickle down effect, will come for everybody, it remains to be seen, because the UK is close to full employment, so everybody's already working, and they were almost like insulting the working population. They were not I would say not entrepreneurial, and spurring them to say, you're just going to have to work more. And obviously many people that already having a full-time job are struggling to make ends meet, resented kind of this sort of evaluation from the Chancellor. And from the point of view of the markets, let me just close this down. So as you can see, sterling hit the lowest points ever against the dollar. So we're talking about a currency exchange that was, until not so long ago, around 160, is now close to 1-to-1. Okay, so it's big change in the value of the UK pound compared to obviously the strongest currency out there, which is the US dollar. And also, what this has caused the yields of the government bonds. So this is the debt. That's how the UK government finances most of the debts, the public debts. Because the yields were going up, then obviously the money that they needed to pay to pay the interest on those bonds were going up, and we see that this amount itself is getting to a level which is over half of what the whole NHS costs for a year in the UK, simply to pay the debt on the national, simply to pay the interest on the national debt. So it's getting bigger and bigger. So what was the solution of the Bank of England to calm the markets down? So the solution of the Bank of England was basically to buy some of these bonds in the markets. So they would kind of like basically, and how do they buy these bonds? They buy these bonds by printing money. Okay, so basically what it means is that they are printing more money to make the price of money go down, because as there is more available for everybody, it's less scarce, so the value goes down. Okay, but the thing that is funny, which is like they engage into a sort of kind of like wishing almost things to happen simply by announcing them. They're saying that this kind of activity would bring the cost of would bring the inflation down. How are they going to do this when the amount of money in circulation it's higher? And by the way, talking about, it's not a small amount. The first tranche was 65 billion, I think. So injecting 65 billion pounds into the economy, and they're expecting the inflation to actually go down instead of up. So this is, for me, kind of like it's really economic wishful thinking, which is proved kind of the opposite of what is actually happening out there. Because the economy is going down, we're now going towards a new recession. At the same time, there is full employment, and the inflation rate is at the highest it's been in 40 years. Okay, so the fact that they're thinking that by printing money this will change is really wishful thinking, and it kind of like worrying, because these are the people at the top of of the decision-making tree that are deciding what's happening with. At the end of the day, money represents your value that you create through your work, and this is really worrying, and it should be if you live in the UK, and you should also make your your voice heard in any way you can, contacting your local representatives. Okay, let's change the subject now. Let's go on to crypto, something that's a little bit easier on the to understand and to make sense of, actually, because this is you think that crypto is complicated compared to the economy, but all these castle of cards that has been put together since we dropped the connection with gold is actually coming to a head now. You know, I really believe that in the next few years we will see a completely different economic system that will be born out of all these troubles. Okay, let's have some crypto news. As you can see, you know, we said it's a week where nothing much has happened, and if you see, this is a daily chart of Bitcoin on the US dollar. You know, nothing really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is a very, very narrow range. They've been trading between 19 and 20,000 really. So you know, as Bitcoin now is very closely correlated with what happens in the economy, in the macroeconomic sectors, and also in the stock market. Okay, and so nothing much happened there apart from, you know, some big spikes, and the same thing now is happening in Bitcoin. As we can see, we have been pretty much in a trend sideways since since mid-June, and there have been a couple of attempts to break out of this trend here in the beginning of August, and also break down here last week, but nothing really decisive that has broken this trend. And again, when we're looking at why we've drawn these lines here, because this red line, which is pretty much where we are, you know, at this kind of like trend where we are at the moment. This is very, very interesting period at the beginning of 2021, before the market really took off. And so again, it represents in a way greed, because people see that at this point in time, this point in price, people that invested in Bitcoin made lots of money, and they want to do the same, basically. So this is what supports the market. On one side is greed, from the other part is fear. So this here, and you can see here, this line here, this is represented by, you know, greed, and also on this side, this is fear. Okay, so if price, the same thing could happen on the other side. So if the price starts going up and we get close to this point, people may get fearful that the same thing might happen, and so they might start selling some of their investment, because they're thinking, well, I don't want to be just left holding this thing that is going to go back down. Okay, so on crypto news, there was a Metamask, which is the widest used crypto wallet, has announced a new asset portfolio dApp. Now, Metamask, you know, although we're saying it's the widely used portfolio, and it has about 30 million users every month. And this kind of puts it into perspective a little bit, the size of the crypto market. We're still talking about a tiny market. Although everybody's talking about it, there is still not that many people worldwide that are interacting with cryptocurrencies. So we still haven't got to mass adoption, but they are thinking about the next level. And as you know, there have been worries about safety of wallets. So they are trying to provide the next level of app that can provide both, let's say, either a one-stop shop for managing crypto, non-fungible tokens, and portfolios on different platforms. Now, it doesn't have the same coverage of MetaMask, but at the moment is available on some blockchains like Ethereum, Optimism, which is a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Phantom, Arbitrum, and Avalanche. So it's not as widely, you can access all the blockchains that you can access with the normal MetaMask browser extension, but I'm pretty sure that in the near future all these will be added on. So go and have a look at it if you are interested. I've just actually literally read this article this morning, so maybe, you know, next week I'll have a play around with this, and then I can tell you more about it next week. In terms of adoption, now there's quite a few things that although it was a quiet week, there were quite a few news in terms of adoption that are really interesting. One is BlackRock. You know, BlackRock's the largest investment company in the world, fund manager, and is now coming out with an ETF, an exchange traded fund, that will invest in the 35 blockchain related company. I mean, and this is not because they love crypto and they love blockchain, simply because they have been asked for it by their customers. Okay, so there is demand, and whenever they see demand, obviously they want to make sure that they are at the avant-garde and they provide the products that their investors want. Otherwise, they just may go somewhere else. So this is really, really important, really big news actually. And also the other big news as well is that they are, I mean, this is kind of like rumors, but there are rumors that they're also preparing. I don't know if it's here somewhere else, but I've read it. They're preparing an ETF in metaverse projects. Okay, again, metaverse, big, a really big new industry that is launching, is created, come out of blockchain technology. And as I'm talking about this, this is one of the next thing I wanted to show you. It's talking about the metaverse. Dubai, which is one of the countries that is going almost like all into blockchain, it's launching, basically they're redoing their website, and instead of doing a new website, they are changing the website with a Web3 address. So that means that the interaction with the Ministry of Economy will not be two-dimensional, but it will be three-dimensional. So you will go into the metaverse, meet people, do deals, and sign bilateral contracts in the metaverse. Okay, so this is quite advanced and quite really out there in terms of what it does, and how they kind of like they're slashing all the red tape, and so it skips the need for physical existence and to wait, to have to meet in a physical place just for a signature. So they are creating an environment for legal proceedings online in the metaverse, and the actual people, the signs that were represented by the avatars, and it's kind of like mind-boggling. But this is what just a glimpse of what the future can look like. Kind of like having meetings and doing deals with people they are on the other side of the world, meeting in a virtual location. And this is like talking about doing deals in Dubai with people that maybe don't even live in Dubai. Okay, so they don't need to physically ever have been into Dubai, but they can do everything in the metaverse. Okay, so I will give you all these crumbs in a way to make you realize how quickly the world is moving. Although the prices may not reflect this yet, but the actual economic activities, because there is a lot going on in the background that is making all this possible. Okay, this is just one example, and I keep bringing you different examples every week just to make you realize, well, if you're not into this industry now, really, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, kind of like don't wait any longer to get involved in. I'm not telling you to do one thing or another, but find your niche, find a way of getting involved, because this is the future. Okay, that's the next thing. We're talking about Telefonica, which is a 19 billion giant of European telecom, and now will enable crypto payments via Bit2Me, which is like a crypto payment service provider. So this is for the marketplace. So the marketplace where you buy and sell apps and other things, they will allow payments in crypto. So Bit2Me is an exchange also. So they have access to many different coins. Now, which coins are included in this trial? We don't know. It hasn't been reported. But it's still, again, Telefonica is one of the major players in Europe's telecoms industry. Okay, so it's big news again. For those of you that are in New Zealand, because a little bit of good news as well for you. For those I know that people have trouble with crypto exchanges in New Zealand. Binance now has a regulation, has secured a registration as a financial service provider in New Zealand. Okay, so they opened also a local office, and now they are like an approved provider. So there shouldn't be any problem anymore to open and to fund a crypto exchange account with Binance in New Zealand. Okay, so again, they have spent Binance this year after what happened in the UK and in other countries. They are pretty much, they labeled them as illegal, only for retracting everything a few months later. Well, Binance has spent a lot of money in compliance. So in many different countries, have opened local offices, have complied with the local regulations, etc., etc., and they are really becoming now the main worldwide player in the crypto industry. So there's all, we can see this thing. We see New Zealand as a bit of a pioneer. So there's a lot of business. So the usual things that you say when you want to basically complement the local market, to make them feel good and make them use your product, but still includes activities like NFTs, spot trading, and staking. So it doesn't extend to derivatives, but this is the core business for Binance. So you pretty much are going to be able to do everything in New Zealand too. Okay, let me close this too. Now the other bit of news, and this is interesting because this talks about the rock, Gibraltar. Okay, Gibraltar, which is a UK territory, but also, obviously in the tip of Spain, just in front of Africa. Now, it's saying that Gibraltar has adopted this is, I'm talking about the not so much as a country, but as a retailers. A lot of retailers support the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Okay, and also not only that, but it's the first place where there's an example bank that also has traditional banking, but also supports the Lightning Network. So there are all these things, again, all these connections, between the traditional business and the new business enabled by blockchain and cryptocurrencies, are now starting to happen. And although this is kind of like a Gibraltar, which is a kind of like a tax haven status, but still it's part of the UK. Okay, so things that happen there first will more likely than not then in the near future happen in the UK too. Okay, another thing, we've been talking for a few weeks about Celsius. That's going through bankruptcy proceedings. Now, Sam Bankman-Fried, which is the guy that behind the FTX exchange, is thinking about acquiring an interest in the Celsius network. He's not kind of like quite clear how he's wanting to participate, if he's just trying to buy the assets of the exchange, like he's already done. FTX recently won the auction for Voyager Digital's assets, and they paid 1.4 billion for those assets. So it's not quite clear if he wants to acquire Celsius as a going concern, and I don't know why anybody would do that at the moment. But probably they were going to bid for for buying all or some of the assets of Celsius. But it's still not clear if this is the way that the liquidators, the administrators want to go or not, or they still have a possibility that Celsius can continue as a business until they can restructure and pay off the liquidity that they have, the position they got themselves into by basically having a big hole in the balance sheet. So going on, other bits of good news. This is Warner Music Group, which is again a big player in the music industry. It has, for example, this is the label that Madonna, Dua Lipa, Ed Sheeran use. They now launches a partnership with OpenSea. So again, because they see that not so much to launching their product, but to connect with the fans of the the artists, so that they can take different ways of engaging with the fans, with the NFTs and with special events for for holders of particular NFTs. So there are so many different ways that they can use this to basically enrich both themselves and the artists that they represent, by making this more accessible, because the following that some of these artists are it goes very close from the point of view of feelings. It's a really engaged community generally that follow artists closely. So it's a way of, in a way, making the experience more meaningful, and at the same time obviously make money on the back end, and building loyalty too. But again, so these are big names, Disney, Warner Music, and Nike, and these are all big brands that are getting now involved in this, because they can see they just follow the trend. At the end of the day, they're not trendsetters as such, but they can see where the consumer interest is, and they just want to be there, want to be seeing where people are spending their time. And just if you just think about it for a second and look at the advertising, like 50 years ago, mainly the advertising was on newspapers, magazines, and on billboards on the roads. Okay, then it's most of the advertising had gone on to television, and then from there it went on to the web, and then it's now from the web, online, is now moving also to the Web3 metaverse, because most people now are spending their time online. So you can see now the adverts on the obviously you still see adverts on newspapers, magazines, and television, but a lot of the investment is moving on to these new media now. So the big brands are spending more money in these new ways of engaging with people, because they can see so much of, not yet from the amount of money they spend, but the amount of time that people spend in these new things is considerable. So they want to capture people's attention. Okay, so they go wherever the attention is, whether it's on Reddit, on Facebook, or on on the metaverse. They will spend money to advertise wherever people spend their time. Okay, how are we doing? We are about half an hour, so we'll carry on for a bit longer, and then we'll open these two questions. There's Ripple, or XRP, has been on a long drawn out legal war with the SEC, and recently, if you look at, let's just see, cryptocurrency, you can see the XRP here. It's in the last 24 hours it's gone up by 12%, because this is all down to a small legal win against the SEC. So the SEC was trying to block the access to certain documents that was related to a speech that the head of the SEC at the time gave on the fact that they didn't think that Ethereum and Bitcoin were securities. Okay, so this whole lawsuit is about, is Ripple, is XRP a security, or is it not? Okay, so the fact that the judge has made access to these documents possible, it means that these things now are going to be used in the legal battle, and it obviously will support Ripple's case as opposed to the SEC. So this is why the price is jumped. But if this judgment comes on the side of Ripple, I mean, not just it will be, you will see a change in the price of Ripple. Obviously, there will be very positive news for XRP, but also for the rest of the crypto industry, because if XRP is deemed to be a security, then there will be a legal precedent that then can be applied to many of the other projects that are out there. And some of the SEC, in the view of the SEC, is that they think that most of the projects out there are securities. Okay, so this is important. Everybody's following this because of this reason. So it's not just a Ripple case, but it's a crypto case, really. Just close a few pages. Sorry, while we are there, right here. Okay. Another really interesting article is this one that talks about blockchain gamers surge. Okay, and simply because many games that come out now, they allow people to play and to start earning tokens online on their phone. An interesting thing said, the really interesting thing about this article saying that the top 10 games in terms of unique wallet addresses interacting with these games are mobile games. So 8 out of 10 are games that you can play on your mobile. So people need very little crypto knowledge to be able. It's just like a normal app that you download on your phone and you play. Okay, so you don't need to be educated about crypto. You can just play these games and just earn some crypto on the side. Okay, but again, why do I bring this to your attention? These are some of the games, by the way. It's like Game Tab, Benji Bananas, Uplands, and Trick Shot Blitz, and whatever. If you want, just I can put this in the chat box. Go and read the article yourself. Okay. And but it's interesting because, again, it brings new users to the crypto world. Okay, and these are users that in many cases haven't interacted with crypto exchanges or with crypto in any other way, but they're just coming to see for the first time. And talking about gaming, kind of the biggest game of them all, really, in the crypto. In terms of crypto games, is Star Atlas, which was launched on Solana last year at the end of 2020. But it's a huge game where they've already invested over 200 million to develop these games, and they just launched the first glimpse of gameplay with debut on the Epic Game Store. So again, if we can show games like this, they have kind of these sort of visuals, they are similar to the games that people play on the PlayStation or Xbox and so on, then obviously this is again bringing a new crowd of users to crypto. And this is already, although the game is not playable yet as such, but it's already a loyal following. So they're kind of like the ship making guilds, and there's a dedicated news site. But although this is again, is such a big project that is probably not going to be fully playable for a few years yet, but it does attract a lot of attention. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you is about the Ethereum merge, because it creates kind of like a problem, and not so much for the users, but for the tax authorities, because if by getting staking rewards paid out, it means that there are lots of people that are not required to file a tax return. They might need to file a tax return simply for the crypto staking gains. Okay, and this is why is it a problem, you would say? Well, it is a problem because already the HMRC, with the agency that looks after taxes in the UK, it's already on their knees, and they're struggling to keep up with the level of work that they need to do. And this would be just putting the tax returns on steroids in a way. So it's increasing the number of tax returns that they need to deal with in a really big way. So it might, although it's something it shouldn't really change much, but it make trigger a new look at the how you have to report these taxes. So a new different way that they look at crypto taxation and tax return filings for your cryptos. So we'll see what what the future holds for how authorities are dealing with cryptos. And again, it says the discussion is there: is it a currency? Is it a security? And it's the more people use it, the more difficult it would be to just deem it that this is not a currency. And also the economic, simply the amount of work that they will need to deal with if they want to go restrictive, and that way it's enormous. But let's see what happens. So let me close these pages as well. Okay, and let's start taking a few questions. So anybody, I'll have a look at the chat box in the meantime, but if any of you wants to unmute themselves and ask the question while I read. Yeah. Okay, questions. Margot say Apple, Disney, and well, yeah, these are kind of like all news. So it's something that's been reported before. So we already discussed this in previous weeks. I just kind of like bring you new things, new announcements in a way. Cornelia, why is this security and why is this important? Because if they can deem that the cryptos are security, then they can tax them and they can apply the same legislation that is applied to stocks and shares, for example, bonds and so on. But the problem is that many is fine, although they could do it from the point of view of the users. From the point of view of the issuer of these so-called securities, how do you manage to track them and legally force them to do what you want them to do? Because as you can see, many projects are completely decentralized. So who would you sue? If you were the government or a minister or something, somebody that wanted to sue these crypto projects, and maybe against Bitcoin or against Cardano or against any of the other ones of the project, they are very decentralized. Who would you take to court? And then this is kind of difficult because again is not, there isn't like a place where these project resides in the world. I can't say it's a UK project, is a US project, is a whatever South African project or whatever. They're just decentralized and they're all over the world. So how do you enforce anything against them? But this is what they're trying to do, at least in the US. And this is why in the US, many cryptocurrency projects are not present, or they don't offer certain services in the US. Okay, so this is why, for example, Binance has an international Binance that you can do everywhere else in the world, and then it's a Binance US that only does certain things, only deal with certain tokens. And if you go sometimes even into the decentralized projects, they will ask you when you first connect, saying you have to state that you are not in certain a resident of certain territories, otherwise they won't let you take part. Okay, so this is a big decision, and apart from what the what the authorities can do, it would put a huge burden on every single project that uses cryptocurrency if that was the case. Okay, and at the end of the day, what they are doing is it's understandable, because they want to make sure that people don't just use this as a trick to raise money, for example, and bypass legislation that's in place for people that want to do things the traditional way. But at the same time, we have to think about that a lot of the interest that finance politicians are basically what I would call them is that traditional power. So, power, the biggest corporations, people that handle vast amounts of money and finances, and obviously these people just support the politicians so that they can take the decision that they want taken. So and this is kind of like a discussion that's been going on in crypto as well for a while, because several players, including so the head of Cardano and the founder of Messari and other people, I've been talking about basically fighting them on their own ground, in the sense that now there will be in certain places, like we're financing the candidates, they are more friendly towards crypto. Okay, because this is what the other lobbying groups are doing. They are supporting candidates. They are, friendly to whatever the finance sector or the arms sector or whatever else they're trying to push push in the legislation in their favor. So there is already discussion in crypto to be able to do something like that, and we might see it already in the next elections. I mean, if you are in the US and you follow what is being said, is that you can see now that many politicians now are taking a position in crypto. They're not just ignoring it, but they are speaking out either for or against it. But they are positioning themselves very carefully, and it's not they don't do anything by chance. They position in a certain way because they want to attract a certain type of voter. Okay, so whatever they consist, whatever the electorate looks like, they will decide if they're going to be re-elected or not. They are positioning themselves in that way. And the good thing about it is that the crypto movement is becoming more widespread. So we see all these people, the more people use cryptocurrencies, the more obviously they want to be seen in a good light. Okay, and so the more they will take notice about the candidates that are going all out against crypto. So this is all part of the, it's a big thing. It's not just about, one decision, is it security or is not security, but it's it's almost like the fight of the old world against the new world. And I mean, if you look back in history, and what many politicians say, like Bill Clinton said famously, it's the economy, stupid, because every big empire is always fallen when they couldn't support the economy anymore. Whether it was the Roman Empire or the British Empire or any other empire that you can mention, economic reasons are always behind the fall of their success, because they couldn't support an orderly society with the decision that they are taking. Okay, anybody would like to ask a question live? Voice rather than typing.
Luca, can I ask then, with XRP, do you think that with the recent win, do you think that the market has priced in Ripple or XRP winning the case against the SEC, so all the gains are there now, or is there still a level of doubt and therefore there's still a level of upside to come with XRP?
We're still a while away from the full decision to be made. So the earliest that there could be a decision, it's mid-December. But I doubt. I mean, they put basically a motion to dismiss, which I don't know if they'll be successful or not, but probably not. I'm still a while away. I personally haven't really interacted with Ripple at all, because I mean it's already, the crypto market is already very volatile as well, and this is completely news based. So if you want to invest in Ripple because of their technology, and there are obviously they are doing some very good stuff as well, this is fine. But if you just want to invest out of news, then you are fighting against people that get their news before you. So you're always going to be behind. Sometimes it may be days or maybe seconds, but in these things it make a big difference. So I don't know. I haven't got involved with Ripple at all, but it's basically a gamble based on news, really.
Okay, thank you. I mean, it's gone up over 50% in the last 6 weeks, so it's which the rest of the market hasn't done.
Well, yes, I know, but because it's gone down a lot since it was at its top. So many people think it's going to boom, but it's if you had invested a few years ago thinking that it's going to boom, you would still be there holding the tokens at a big loss. So yeah, it's a decision that you can make yourself. I personally don't get involved with these sort of things, but it is a gamble. And if you do things like this, have a dedicated gambling fund. But you don't use for any rational decisions, but just because your gut instinct. Okay, and this is nice as well, because at the end of the day you can see how good your gut is. Gut health. That could be one of the ways that can be measured. So at the end of the year, your gut fund is that has it done better than the rest of your funds or not?
Thank you very much. Okay, I take the hint.
No, whatever. It's up to you, honestly, guys. This is not. I'm not telling you to make decisions with your money. I'm just telling you the facts, and then you take them, do whatever you want with them.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Margot, I'd be interested to know more about Fortnite and them adopting NFT. And I don't know. I don't know anything about Fortnite in the sense that would they be adopting NFTs or not. And the thing is that with some of these games, whether it's Fortnite or whether some of the, there are for example, some very successful apps on the iPhone store or whatever they have gone on, and they've got a loyal community that's used these games for 7, 8, 10 years. The point is that they've got a model that makes them a lot of money. So why to go, and they will only go and tinker with that model when they're losing market share, I think. So until they can mint basically money by having by selling what they are selling, then they carry on. When they can't avoid it anymore, then they will do, and they also make a lot of money when they decide to do it, because obviously they got a huge community behind it. We can say, funny enough, is being seen sometimes. They also, Fortnite is evolved from being just a game. It's becoming also a place where events are held. It's becoming really a non-crypto related metaverse. Because I've seen often I've gone around around London, and we can see like art events, for example. They are advertised as a physical location and also on Fortnite, where you can go and attend an art exhibition. Although if you don't live in London or whatever, you don't want to go there, you can go and visit it through the Fortnite platform. So it's really interesting, all these kind of like new models, apart from will they use crypto or not, and they're kind of like new models of doing business, which are which is really, really interesting. Because I was having this discussion in a way with my son, who's now at university, is 20, just turned 20, and is in third year, just starting his third year of university. And just even, just thinking about it, is the job that he's going to do probably hasn't been invented yet. It's got another 2 years to go. And by the time he finishes, probably doing something completely different from what he thought he would do by joining his degree course. Because it's changing so quickly. And the economic models are changing so quickly that it's difficult to keep up. And for people, especially they are not maybe that young anymore. They're past their 20s, to put it that way. And even just looking at having the experience of seeing a boy grow up and start using social media and stuff, a lot of the stuff they use is just thinking, what is that? I've never seen that before. And by the time you learn how to use one, it's obsolete. They're using something else now. And it's not even, apart from Facebook is just for, old fogies now, but it's even, it's all like Snapchat and Steam and Discord and other stuff. And then whenever something comes up, they jump on it and they know how it works, after 2 days. And it's almost like impossible to keep up if you have a life outside, non-digital life. But this is the new reality. So this is how the new world is working. And if you have got kids above 5, I would say, you will realize, you don't need me to tell you. I still remember, I mean, this will probably give away my age. I will still remember that I bought one of the first electronic games, which was like Ping. Having to buy this game that you will attach to your television just to see this ball going ping, ping, going backwards and forwards and playing, like they called it tennis. That's a big, it was a big stretch to think of that as tennis, but yeah, thinking about what you can do now with games, and you can make a living just playing games. You can become basically have a channel, and like my son, for example, just spends time when he's at home from uni. Most of his time he will spend watching other people playing games, not playing them himself, but watching other people that play them, which kind of baffles me completely. But this is something they enjoy because it's entertainment, and people make a living out of this. So, go figure. Okay, any more questions? And one thing today, we haven't talked about Cardano. I always talk a lot about Cardano, but I haven't today. So if you want to get your Cardano fix for the week, remember to join Jonathan at 9:30. Oh, and yes, the other thing I wanted to share with you before we leave is, don't forget that tomorrow we are meeting in real life. Okay, so this is the event. We're going to be in London, and we have a wealth acceleration workshop that will last all day. If you're part of the community, then you can have access to this for free. But I do also have 2 free tickets to give away if you're not part of the community already. So if there is somebody that first come, first serve, if somebody wants to come tomorrow and without paying the 290 Australian dollars, then send me a message either here on the chat box, or you can ask my email address. Get this address as well, and I'll make sure you can get in for free. But I've only got 2 of these left. Okay, so
Luca,
yeah.
Just to let you know, there are no trains to London tomorrow at all.
No trains to London.
I think some people might at all. No.
Well, you better start walking then.
Yes, I know. So I think a few people, if they're not from London, might struggle a little bit.
Okay. No, thank you for letting me know. So this is what trains for outside of. But it's strange because we got the the London Marathon on Sunday as well. So how can people arrive to run on the marathon? I don't know. Anyway, so if you want some tickets, let me know.
Luca,
yeah.
for Southwestern Railway, it depends on where you're coming from, but you can check the website, start with Trainline, and then it'll direct you which train company runs in your area. And for example, Southwestern, it says that there is strike action on Saturday the 1st and Sunday the 2nd. Saturday the 1st has a severely reduced service operation between 7:30 and 6:30. And Sunday the 2nd, its first services will just start much later, but please avoid them. So there are services, but I think they'll be packed because they're so limited. And even though you're encouraged not to travel unless absolutely necessary, I think people travel anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's also these strikes are not always like followed 100%. So they generally there is kind of like the train companies do try to run a reduced service, like a Sunday service. So I mean, I'm personally, I've been lived in London for a long time. Generally, there is a way you can get places. Okay, yeah, obviously it might be different if you're coming from a way away, but you know, just obviously find out before if you can get here.
Will there be no streaming tomorrow, Luca?
No, it's just live tomorrow. Because again, it is not a free event. You know, it's a paid for event. So it's not going to be available to everybody. We have so far about 110 registrations, so it should be a good turnout if people can get there. But anyway, let's changing the subject. This was just to show you, if you want to come, let me know. And Jonathan, yes, okay. So there's one ticket gone, so there is another one left. Okay. I can send you the link in a second, Jonathan. Okay. Okay. Any more questions related to crypto?
I can interject that Marga, you'd asked about NFTs and Fortnite adopting them. Well, I think actually probably what will happen is that additional ecosystems will build up around large games like Fortnite that will use their own tokens and reward systems. So they'll program integrations with the huge games that are making them their own money, like Luca's saying. But there's still opportunities for other parties to get involved and to, you know, bring in the adoption of crypto, other tokens, and reward you. So play to earn is still going to be huge, but it may not come directly from Epic Games and so on and so forth.
I think, yeah, that was sort of the track that I was going on in terms of buying an NFT and renting out like a jacket or renting out a gun or something like that. I think there's that space for it.
Yeah, I'm
not sure.
One thing that staggered me was this was 5 years ago. One of my employees, he's a developer. He, you know, I knew what I was paying him. It wasn't that much. And he said he was getting engaged and he was buying this big expensive ring. And I said, well, I've got a jeweler friend, one of our clients. Go and speak to him. And he bought this, came back with a design for his massive diamond. I was like, how are you doing this? He says, well, I sold some in-game assets from my my CSGO. I was like, you did what? He was describing how he'd get these crates dropped with in-game assets like flak jackets and knives and special skins and stuff, and then he would take them out of the game, sell them to other accounts, and then they'd bring them back into the game. So this, you know, trading of NFTs, they weren't even NFTs then, they were just, you know, assets that were defined digitally, has been going on and will continue to go on. And now we've got a store of value in NFTs that's actually recognized outside of these ecosystems. It's just going to continue to grow. So yeah, any of the NFTs related to, you know, if they've got a certain gameplay history as well, then they do increase in value over time. So he was telling me about a knife that got a kill counter on it, and you could tell which games it had killed or defeated which enemies and stuff like that. And yeah, there's a project on Cardano called Player Mint that is doing play to earn tokens for Fortnite.
Okay, interesting. Okay, thank you. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you. So this is why you need to go and follow Jonathan's session at 9:30. Get all these gold nuggets. Okay. All right, guys. I need to be off sharply because I need to prepare for tomorrow's event. So if you I know that some of you, Jonathan, are going to be there, and Anne-Marie as well, and hopefully Archie and Sonia too. Robin also, and I'm not quite sure, Charanjit, are you coming as well? But hopefully I will see you. I will see you there. Strike permitting. And yeah, if you're interested in coming, then let me know, and I will love to meet you in person. Okay. Otherwise, it will be a separate occasion. All right. Okay. Goodbye, everyone, and I will see you soon.
Thanks. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, thanks.
Thanks, Luca. Bye-bye.